Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. The work week begins. We must love every day, for our gratitude of life has to be full of abundance. And I'm learning to speak clearly during these videos. For my clarity is what's going to help with all this blueprinting that I've been doing. I'm rough drafting using a pencil, and drawing and erasing and learning how to create my lines and my curves and my shapes as I go. So thank you for your patience and support and understanding during this development of inception. Now, it is Monday, September 21st, 2015. Many things are coming to me, coming to we, coming to us, and we must trust that everything is unfolding as it should. There's a lot to talk about. So what I want to do is mainly just kind of do things in small sections and small clips. So I want to read out of this amazing book right here, We, by Robert A. Johnson. Now, this book is, I'm a slow reader because I kind of read a lot of things at once, and I'll read about 10 books at one time and only read one line out of one book, and it will take me off to another book, and it's just the way that I work. So I want to be able to let this book inspire the very beginning of this conversation. I'm going to be going out on the first chapter. It's titled On Myths. And I'm going to start midway down into the sentence, for that's where the inspiration is coming from on this. Such myths have an uncanny power to thrill us, uplift us, pull us out of the pettiness of our ego lives, and transport us to a realm of magic, noble deeds, and unearthly passion. But a myth does more than that. If we learn to listen, it will also give us specific psychological information and teach the deep truths of the psyche. Years ago, a grammar school teacher asked her class, "What is a myth?" A young boy, the son of a couple whom I know well, raised his hand and replied, "A myth is something that is true on the inside, but not true on the outside." The teacher didn't understand. But often children have more psychological wisdom than adults. A myth is true. It is not true in the outer physical sense, but it is an accurate expression of a psychological situation, of the inner condition of the psyche. Myths are like dreams. Dreams are the messenger of the unconscious mind. Now, he goes in, and I would highly recommend this book, and I'm going to be pulling some more things out of it throughout this conversation. Mainly just from the first chapter alone has a lot of power within it. And so I want to go and touch base into this, that people tend to want to use myths and dreams as excuses, as reasons to try to manipulate and try to control other people. Now, that control is not the right way. We need to understand that we all have our own myths and beliefs. And when there's a union between two people, when you get those two parts coming together and making that whole, it has to be a truth coming from both people individually. It has to be a myth that came to them and a dream that came to them individually. It cannot be one person pushing this myth and belief onto another person and influencing them so that finally this person comes to realization, because what will happen is that the paths will cross and then the other person will continue on while this person continues on. Now, we're all here to inspire, we're all here to aspire, and we're all here to retire. And in that, I want to inspire right now and say that symbology forms mythology, and mythology will form our reality. Now, there's a lot of things that people want to say they're coincidences. Like, there's 70% of the earth is covered by water. 70% of our bodies, almost up to 75% of our bodies, is water. The trees and the plants live off of our carbon dioxide, and we live off of their oxygen. Symbiosis. So, where symbiosis and synchronicity and dreams in my myth and my reality are this: if we redefine every single word that is known to man by our own belief, by our own mythology, by our own symbology, and we express these definitions of our own experiences of this word, we will be able to find the people that are on our experience, on our page, on our chapter that we're writing of the book of life. Now, with this inspiration, I fall into the second part of that to back up what I was just saying was a myth is a collective, or sorry, let me go back. A myth expresses the dynamic within the collective mind of a society, culture, or race. So, my definition of empowerment or power and pride. So, power is knowledge, knowledge is love. If we stay in the mind, we lose all that love. If we stay in our hearts, then we will find power. We will find our true power. We will be able to empower ourselves and others to move forward in this duration of time that we're in. Now, if we don't change anything, change won't happen. It'll stay the same. And all things are meant to begin, to end, to transcend, to be born again, refreshened, renewed, all those kind of beautiful words. Now, in my inception of my reality, a myth is, coming from the book again of Wayne, a myth is the collective dream of an entire people at a certain point in their history. As it is as though the entire population dreamed together, and that dream, the myth burst forth through its poetry, songs, and stories. But a myth not only lives in literature and imagination, it immediately finds its way into the behavior and attitudes of the culture, into the practical daily lives of people. I have a very strong feeling of insight where this is coming from my insight that we all want to be unified. We don't want a one world order. We want the order of the world to find itself again. We want order within our worlds, within our lives, and that is the only thing that we can work into. If everybody was working around on their belief system, thinking what was right and what was wrong for the world to do, then we'd all be dead already. We'd all be blowing each other up and just saying, hey, well, you know what? You hurt me and I hurt you. Don Miguel writes in the Core Agreements, I think it's in that book, it talks about imagine a society where they have cancer all over their bodies. And imagine that society being so sensitive to the hurt of their past and their emotions and what they were taught, what they could or couldn't do in their life. And as soon as you rub up against that person, it's conflict. Ow, you hurt me, so I'm going to hurt you, and then we're doing this battle. And that's not what this collective is anymore. Our collective consciousness is now rised up. And this is how I could be able to see that there's been a rising. I've been outside of El Paso, Texas for about 3 to 4 years. This right here happened yesterday. And this was an absolutely beautiful moment in time for El Paso. Now, I want to be able to lead in to an attitude of gratitude for Eduardo for facilitating these classes. These classes are a free cooking class. Free. No money, just love donation. Free cooking classes. Learn to cook delicious vegan dishes with fresh ingredients. Then stay for the vegan potluck that follows at 7 o'clock. This happens every first and third Saturday of every month. I'm going to put in the link of the information down below so that you all can be able to share this knowledge. Because sharing is caring of knowledge. And sharing this moment of love and understanding is going in from the mythology to from the symbology to the mythology. This symbol, peace. This symbol of the rose quartz, love. You know, Hellsberg loves to market I am loved. Everybody wants to market I am loved or love, 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 love. Because that is what we all need right now. And to finish off with this one, if you go to hashtag #EPVegan, you'll be able to find it. And meat eaters are welcomed. So there is no judgment, there is no bias. Eduardo is a very, very wonderful soul and very peaceful and kind and understanding and supportive. Now, the proper print shop gentlemen, those are been my boys for quite some time now, and I've been very blessed to be able to say that I'm part of the ability to say that these guys are good friends of mine. Mr. JJ and Mr. Allen want to give you guys a lot of proper props right now, and I give you guys a lot of props for doing what you've been doing in this city because you're changing it in a very beautiful way. If you ever need any kind of printing or anything like that, even if you don't live in El Paso, I'd highly recommend for you guys to hit up the proper print shop in El Paso, Texas. Again, I will give out links down in this whole area that people can find and information. So, going into symbology and mythologies, and going into the power of our words, how do we use our words that we express in our life really defines our life. Now, I was given this beautiful little thing yesterday. Feels good to be free of the things you don't need, doesn't it? And a nice little snowflake. It's a nice blue feather. So, in my world, I live in a very unique experience, and my wife honors my uniqueness, to say the least, because I am loved. Oh, this one even has military dog tags on it. That's good. So we have to honor all these things. So going into that idea of need, we tend to have to feel like we need to do things. We feel like we need to have to go through a process. We feel as though we need to have pharmaceuticals or non-pharmaceuticals. We feel like we need to have a lifestyle. Really all we need is the needless. We find that these people that are needless inspire us all, like gurus and teachers and good scriptures and books and knowledge and everything. So we have to define what it is that we need, and we have to define what it is that we want. We have to define what it is that we have to do. I know at this point, for me, I have two things that I have to do on this earth plane. The other things I'm doing are a want and a need. I need oxygen. I need food to stay alive. Those are basic. Now, what I have to do is I have to pay my past financial debts out. And I have to work a job. And I have to get to that job on time. I have to take classes. And I have to show up to those classes on time. And those are have tos. And I feel that if we really define how expansive we want to be, or how minimal we want to be, we find that needs, wants, and have tos kind of get a little bit smaller and smaller. And with that shrinking down, we get to become sustainable, and we become more of a contribution to life instead of being a problem to life. In my nutrition classes that I'm taking right now, I'm learning the power of choice. We choose how we define our words. We choose how we define ourselves in this world. We choose on how we behave, how we react, and how we allow ourselves to be boundless without any boundaries, or to have a boundary limit. Sometimes we have to say no. More times than not, we have to say no. If we say yes, then we just overextend ourselves. I'm coming into that experience right now. Or I should say, I'm coming out of that experience. I have said yes to too many people's responsibilities, and I have lost my own responsibilities during this time. And now I am getting the opportunity to choose for myself what these responsibilities are. In this one selfish act of self-reflection and self-accountability and self-responsibility for my self-awareness, I get to become selfless and in abundance. I feel as though that's a good point to end. So again, I want to give some props out to you, Eduardo, for doing such a beautiful thing. Free cooking classes over at the Proper Print Shop. Location of that is, or the information on it, I'll just read it out right now. You can go and learn how to eat some really good vegan Mexican dishes from Eduardo. First and third Sunday of every month. The address is 800 Montana Avenue, El Paso, Texas, 79902. Phone number for contact, 915-887-8350, from 5 to 7 at the Proper Print Shop. And if you go to EP Vegan, capital E, capital P, and capital V, Egan, EGAN.com, you will receive all the information that I'm just giving to you right here. If you go to Proper Print Shop, you'll be able to get some nice shirts made and some nice messages and some nice symbology to be able to make the mythology into your reality of whatever it is that you want to see the world become. Peace out, much love, and may love and peace be upon us all today on this beautiful Monday, September 21st, 2015. Peace.